was really like any other Monday. It was a quiet Monday, January 6th. Classes hadn't started after the Christmas break, so there were still students kind of trickling back and using our recreation facility, and some members coming back after their Christmas breaks. And I was working behind the customer service desk, and one of our regular squash members, he approached the desk and said, you know, my buddy's having trouble, he's having trouble breathing. So I grabbed the first aid kit, I went into the men's washroom, and I saw the patient, Mr. Kara, lying on one of the benches in the men's locker room. And basically, as soon as I saw him, I knew it was more than anything minor. It was major what was happening. I happened to bump into one of our first aid instructors, Paul Hunke, as I was walking back to the change room, and I was, Paul, you got to come with me. I'm going to need your help in there.
So I go in with him, and when we got there, Ayaz, the patient, was on the bench unconscious, and Mike was doing CPR. So I went over, did an assessment of my own, and Mike continued doing compressions.
I remember his friends were over top of him, and he didn't look so well, so I offered some water, and I turned around, and that's when his face was blue, and I knew that something was wrong. So instinct came in. It's what you train for, and so it just ended up, started to give chest compressions.
I set up the AED, so I positioned the AED around on his head on the bench, and we put the pads on him. I distinctly remember that first shock when the AED advised of shock. I remember seeing that wave of energy, you know, go right through his body, and I had only seen like what you see in the movies almost. And sometime between the machine, that second shock, and the machine not advising for a third shock, I remember doing chest compressions, and I remember the patient, Mr. Kara, reaching up for my hands as I was doing chest compressions. And I remember turning to Paul and saying, I think he's responding.
It was surreal. We knew that the AED worked. As that was happening, I looked down at the machine, and the AED had a heart monitor on it, and you could see the heart rhythm, and he was having a fairly strong heart rhythm at that point, which was amazing to see.
In very few cases do we get a call that's as clear-cut as this one, where everything goes right, where we're close, where your team, the Mount Royal care team, acts so quickly. And here's a patient who's in VFib, who's not going to survive if something isn't done right away.
The AED guaranteed is what saved his life. You have very low, it's less than 5% chance of bringing somebody back with CPR alone. It jumps exponentially if you can get an AED on there in a quick manner.
AEDs really can make a difference for patients like this one, who was in full cardiac arrest, who otherwise, without your help and without an AED, might not have survived.